Shalom, brothers and sister. Okay, time for me to put the theory of what Brother Nehemiah was saying into a practical approach. And I'm doing this video on behalf of Brother Joshua Ilunga. He asked us to break down the video of Brother Nehemiah into kind of smaller building blocks so that we can understand where we come from. Right, without further ado, let me get into the thought of Brother Nehemiah.
God bless, brothers. Alright, so here you have G major, right? G, B, D, F, A, and with 11 it will be, okay, this is 11, which is C. Okay, so I keep in the bass, I keep the G, the F, and I play the F chord here. So it's 11, but if you look at it differently, it's the F in the right hand.
Okay, that was the structure that he gave. Now, in order for me to break that structure down into smaller building blocks, we all know that when we play a song, we would go to a seventh, falling in love with Jesus. But you can hear it sounds empty. If I just go to a G7, a flat seventh, it sounds very empty, and everybody knows this progression. I'm going to use another song as an example. Learning to lean. We know that. Right, so you understand how the seventh works, okay? When you're moving on a song, you've got 1 and 5. I always play 1 and 5, but yeah, on your right hand, this is a root chord, okay, out of G, something we know. Right, let's take it to another level. So the next thing you need to understand, and I suppose you need to learn, and specifically Brother Joshua, is understanding, and I think you may also understand that you get a root chord, but you can take your thumb and you can transfer what your thumb is playing. You can transfer it there. That basically means you're playing your first inversion, because now 1, 3, 5. Take your thumb, put it there, and then you've got your first inversion. Right? That's another building block. Second building block is I can always take my thumb again and move it. What I'm playing on this note, I can move it to the octave. So you understand the process of creating inversions.
And the G with a flattened 7th in the left hand. So what I was referring to was, you play the G11, then you drop this down to a E major chord.
So maybe what was confusing was something that we needed to understand. Brother Nehemiah was playing a song, Falling in Love with Jesus, but he wasn't playing the root, but he was playing the inversion, starting with his thumb on the 5th note of G. Now, in order for me to break that part down, when you play Falling in Love with Jesus,
still keep this. So here you have E major, right?
Right, let me break that into a smaller building block in order to get yourself from here to here to here. What if we took this chord that I'm playing here, right, a full root chord of G, and instead of just moving my thumb and my pinky, I would move my entire chord from a G major chord. Instead of just doing that, I would take that entire chord and move it to a G flat, and I would move that to an F. Right. So if we had to play Learning to Lean or Falling in Love with Jesus, it would have the same effect. You got the understanding. But now, what if we took that major root chord and we started breaking it down into a second inversion, and I do the same thing, right?
So that's why the Brumerian mentioned falling in love with Jesus, because it's falling in love with Jesus.
He played the song Falling in Love with Jesus. Falling in love with Jesus.
Falling in love. Alright, so once you know this,
that's a second inversion, but I can take it to a third inversion. Falling in love with Jesus. You see what I'm doing is I'm taking the chord and I'm moving a full chord down a step. But the final one is
if you're out of E flat major, right? You're out of E flat major. Now I'm going to use the same progression, but instead of doing the E natural, I'm going to do the E flat. Now that same progression that I used, where I used is now a 3 to a 6 in E flat major, but it's very almost identical, where I'm in G major using exactly the same fingering to go there, but now I'm in E flat major. And now it's a 3 to 6. Thank you.